On Tech News Today, HTC announces 2 new phones and a weird new camera. Plus, we'll tell you about 2 new messaging apps. One brings all your messages from different services into a single inbox, and the other puts your chat sessions into hand-drawn cartoons. All that and more coming up right now on Tech News Today.
This is Twit.
Bandwidth for Tech News Today is provided by CacheFly at CACHEFLY.com.
This is Tech News Today for Thursday, October 9th, 2014. This episode is brought to you by ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter makes hiring faster, easier, and cheaper. Post your job to 50-plus job boards with one click. Try ZipRecruiter with a free 4-day trial now at ZipRecruiter.com/TNT. That's ZipRecruiter.com/TNT. And by Squarespace, the all-in-one platform that makes it fast and easy to create your own professional website or online portfolio. For a free 2-week trial and 10% off, go to squarespace.com and use the offer code TNT. Tech News Today is a show where we talk about the tech news with the journalists who report it. Welcome to the show. I'm Mike Elgan, and Jason Howell is not Mike Elgan, but he is Jason Howell, and I appreciate that fact.
Usually I can be referred to as Jason Howell when I'm not posing as you, of course.
Yes, and sometimes it just has to be done because, you know, sometimes I'm just not myself.
Yep.
At least Hugh is off today. Now, Jason, there was a new breaking news that hit about 10 minutes ago.
Oh, okay.
And what that news is that Google has added polls to Google+, real polls. So you probably have a link that you can throw in. There it is.
Hey, there we go.
Yeah.
The Next Web has a post on Google+ that shows, well, Carlton doing the Carlton dance next to random internet dude. I think I got to vote for random internet dude.
Definitely vote for him. Oh, he's losing. How is that
you
possible?
know what? Carlton is the originator of the dance, so I suppose I'm not surprised.
But do people not see the pink sweater around this guy's neck?
Yeah, I mean, that's a pretty awesome. It's either a sweater or a scarf. I'm not really quite sure.
So for those of you listening, essentially what this is it looks like a picture, right? It looks like an animated GIF or GIF. Choosing mothers choose GIF, but it split in half, so there's 2 separate things, and at the bottom there are blue buttons that if you click, you vote, and then after you vote, you get the percentage of votes that have already been cast. So in this case, 65% for Carlton and 35% for random internet dude. That is a cool feature.
Yeah, it is, and it's kind of long overdue for Google+, because so many people have just used Google+ as a polling platform, even though there was no official way to do it, dropping in comments as options and then cutting off comments from anyone else and then requiring people to +1 the comment that's there that they approve with. Like, that's one roundabout way of doing it. It's just kind of sloppy, so this is awesome. I love it.
Does anything like this exist for Twitter or Facebook, do you know?
Oh.
I don't think it does.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Nothing official from Twitter or Facebook that I know of, but I wouldn't be surprised if there's some services that are friendly to those, you know, to those social networks.
It's a good feature for Google+ because people do a lot of crowdsourcing and a lot of, you know, sort of question and answer type stuff. It's less personal stuff, less like here's a short thing. So that makes a lot of sense. And of course, I think we saw this coming because of their recent acquisition, which we reported on this show. Well, let's jump into wow.
Sorry, this is Carlton going a little nutso.
This is fantastic TV right here. Yeah.
All right, let's get to news.
Should we do the news?
I think we should.
Let's do it. HTC announced a small range of new products yesterday, including a smartphone called the Desire I, which is optimized for selfies, the Desire 610, which is optimized for cheapness, and the Re-camera, which looks like an asthma inhaler. Dan Seifert is reviews editor for The Verge, and he joins us to tell us all about this announcement. Welcome to you, Dan Seifert.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Well, thank you for being here. Now, are you impressed with the Desire I? Let's start with the Desire I. Now, who's going to buy this phone?
You know, it's funny because as a phone itself, the Desire I is actually a really nice mid-range phone that's got great performance, a great screen, great build quality, and it looks cool. So if you judge it on those characteristics, it's going to be a really attractive phone for someone who doesn't necessarily want to spend as much money for, say, the M8 from HTC or another high-end Android phone. But that's not really what the marketing angle is around this. The marketing angle is all about that giant camera on the front of it to take selfies, which is the same camera that's actually on the back of it. It's the first smartphone that has a 13 megapixel front-facing camera, and HTC is using that on the front and back of the phone.
And this surprises me. It surprises me that this is the first company. It seems to me that obviously people take a lot of selfies. They take a lot of pictures out of the front of the camera, and so it's long overdue, in my opinion. Now let's talk about the other features that are related to this, namely that there's a flash on the front of the camera. Is that unique to this phone?
It is unique for HTC, at least. I think it's the first one from HTC. I think some other manufacturers might have put other types of lights or flashes on the front of the phone. This is unique in that the same flash is on the front as it is on the back. So it's got what I believe HTC calls it a duotone flash or something like that. That's got 2 LEDs there. It's supposed to balance the light better and make better color. But the reality of the matter is, if you are holding this phone in front of your face, maybe 1.5 feet or 2 feet away, and you fire the flash, you are going to get blinded by an LED light. Like, there's just no getting around that.
Well, you know, whatever it takes to get a good selfie. The iPhone now has a significantly smaller camera in terms of the resolution, in terms of the megapixel count, and yet early reports suggest that the iPhone 6 takes significantly better front-facing selfie pictures. Why is that? Why did they choose to go for the sort of high resolution without really making it a high-quality picture?
Yeah, that's a very good question. You know, I had spent some time with the Desire I, and I was able to test the selfies in both good daylight scenarios and really poor low light conditions. And outdoors in daylight, the selfies look amazing. They're really sharp, great color, lots of detail, but those are kind of easy conditions to do. Once you get into a dark environment, say like a dim restaurant or sometime at night or whatever, the Desire I's images were significantly darker and softer and just not as nice looking as what the iPhone 6 produced, which were much brighter. They showed a lot of grain and maybe some noise, but it was a much better image, even though it wasn't nearly as high of a resolution. And it's interesting that HTC decided to put such a high megapixel camera on the front as opposed to something that maybe is better suited for low light performance, that doesn't have as high a resolution but provides a better low light image.
And what is HTC's eye experience?
Their eye experience is kind of built around the Desire I's new camera, even though it will be coming to their other phones. It's essentially their new camera app. They've taken their camera app, they've added a whole bunch of new features that are focused around the things that people are taking photos with on their phones. So a lot of selfie-focused images. If you're familiar with the front back app on iOS, which allows you to take a picture with the front camera as well as the rear camera at the same time to kind of get like a reaction shot to what you're seeing, HTC has added that in. There's a couple of things like you can use the front camera to insert yourself into the scene that the rear camera is capturing, which is kind of gimmicky. And they've done some video chat stuff. So if you are on a video call with, say, 4 people, the camera will actually zoom in on their faces and frame them up nicely automatically for you.
Let's talk about the HTC Desire 610. Now, this is just my opinion, but this seems to be one of the least desirable phones I've ever seen. It's a low-quality, cheap-looking phone. The materials look cheap. Everything about it looks shoddy, and yet is not as inexpensive as superior Android phones that are pretty widely available. Why does this phone exist, and why does HTC think anyone will buy this phone?
Yeah, that's another great question. You know, there's a lot of stiff competition in that area, and I think you're probably referring to something like the Moto G, which is a really impressive low-cost Android phone that doesn't really compromise on experience, but it doesn't cost you a fortune either. And you know, Motorola has been very successful with that device, especially in emerging markets where the average smartphone buyer maybe isn't ready to spend $600 or $700 on a device. And you know, HTC wants to be a part of that. And it's trying to lean on the things that's traditionally been good at, such as design and maybe hardware build quality and stuff like that. The Desire 610 does look like a mini version of HTC's higher end M8 line, maybe without the metal build quality and without the really great screen and things like that. But it's a hard game to play in, and I think you know, HTC is going to have some trouble really making this make a big dent for customers. But carriers are always asking for phones across the spectrum, and it seems to me like the 610 is one of those phones that HTC was fulfilling the wishes of carriers on.
Sounds like a big mistake to me. Now let's talk about the Re camera. Why do they make a camera that looks like a submarine periscope? What's the advantage of that?
A submarine's periscope or an asthma inhaler, you know, it's been called quite a few different things. The idea behind their design is that this is supposed to be more ergonomic to use than, say, a GoPro, which is what everybody's going to compare it, and everybody has compared it to. The GoPro is kind of blocky and chunky, whereas this is rounded and smooth, and you hold it in your hand, and it's supposed to be very simple and easy to use, and it doesn't interfere with you living in the moment, as HTC says. It's got a very simple interface. It's only got 2 buttons. There's no screen. There's no viewfinder. There's no graphical interface with this. You just kind of hold it up and push the buttons to take pictures and record video. And HTC is billing this as a better way to take photos than using your smartphone, which you have to pull out of your pocket and open the camera app and look at the phone to compose your shot. I'm not sure I really buy that. A lot of people are used to carrying their smartphones all around with them all the time. Obviously, people take loads of photos with their smartphones. It's not a foreign thing for people. And HTC is essentially asking them to carry another device to take photos that may or may not be as good as what their smartphone can already do.
Well, for one thing, it enables the taking of meta selfies. You can take a picture of yourself taking a selfie, which is always useful. Now, what are the built-in storage options and removable card options?
So as far as I understand, it doesn't actually have any built-in storage. It's shipping with an 8 GB micro SD card. And there's a micro SD card slot, of course, and it will support up to 128 gigabytes. It can record 1080p video at 30 frames per second. There's a slow motion mode, so you can do 720p video at 120 frames per second, and it takes 16 megapixel stills. The thing that HTC is really trying to sell is that it's got this ultra wide angle lens. It's I believe even wider than the default lens on GoPro cameras, which is supposed to make it easy so that you don't have to worry if you're going to cut someone's head off or not get the shot that you're looking for. But ultra wide angle lenses have their own issues with maybe capturing too much of the scene, and you don't want all this extra stuff on the side of your frame if you're trying to take a nice photo.
Definitely. Well, Dan Seifert lives on theverge.com, and you can follow him on Twitter at DCSEIFERT. Thanks so much for joining us, Dan.
Thank you.
All right. Well, we're going to tell you about the new news in the world of the Chromebook, but first I want to tell you about ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter is going to help you succeed as both a professional and a hiring manager, and also as a small business owner, if in fact you do own a small business, because the most important decision you make when you are hiring people is hiring the best people. If you hire people who are unqualified or who aren't going to do a good job, then you're not going to succeed as a leader. And so that's why you need to use ZipRecruiter as your secret weapon. The problem with hiring people is that the qualified candidates exist on Monster, on Facebook, on Craigslist. They exist on Backpage, everywhere. They're all over the place. And so how much time do you really have? How many weeks do you have to slog through each job board, each social network, and searching for candidates and trying to recruit them with all these different methods and systems for doing so? ZipRecruiter takes care of it for you, and you can put your job listing on all of them, more than 50, with a single click, which is super useful. The problem with that process is that you get flooded with candidates, both the qualified ones and a great many more unqualified candidates, and ZipRecruiter will help you with that as well. They'll isolate the really high quality candidates so you can just go through those candidates and not worry about the ones who aren't meeting your qualifications. Right now, TNT fans can try ZipRecruiter for a free 4-day trial. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/TNT. That's ZipRecruiter.com/TNT, and we thank ZipRecruiter for their support of Tech News Today. Google yesterday launched a new program called Chromebook for Work. Stephen Vaughan-Nichols writes for CNET and joins us now. Welcome to you, Stephen Vaughan-Nichols.
Hi there. Good to be here again, Mike.
And you're a contributing editor to ZDNet. I put CNET, and I thank you for, I can't believe you haven't been on the show this year, all year.
I haven't, actually. Weird, but true.
Well, we got to make up for it for the remainder of the year, I'll tell you that.
We can do this.
I'm a big fan of your writing and your work, and I enjoy following you on Google+. And so, I welcome you here today. Now, what is the Chromebook for Work initiative exactly?
Really, it's Google saying to the small business and enterprise world, we've got the stuff that you need to use a Chromebook in an enterprise. Now, what they mean by that is, okay, you've got these identification systems with, say, Active Directory. we can work with Active Directory now. Not a problem. Say you've got applications, but it's more than just, okay, it will fit into your authentication system. Say you've got some Windows applications that you can't live without. They are saying now, thanks to our partnerships with Citrix and VMware, not a problem. You can put those applications on either as just standalone apps or as a Windows virtual desktop. Use your Chromebook to pop into them, use them, and then use your Chromebook for everything else that you need to do. So another add-on to that authentication thing is now it's a single sign-on, so you can rig it so that you can just log in once to your Chromebook, you get into your network, you get into the VMware or Citrix formation of Windows apps, if that's what you want to do. You get into your Active Directory, so you get to your local services, and you also get into Google Docs and all the rest. So you don't have to do a lot of jumping around. Finally, there's some new administration tools on there too, so it's just a lot easier for an admin to sit there and say, okay, these are the apps you can use. These are the directories you can go into. These are the bookmarks that you need. It just makes it really a lot easier, both for the Office user and for the system administrator. And of course, they're also offering a discount price on it. But what they're going to tell any Google or Chromebook salesperson is going to tell you is we can also just cut your costs down enormously anyway if you go with a Chromebook virtual cloud-based solution, because we can do all this for you and you don't have to worry about the virus software. You've got the management tools now. You've got this low-cost solution that will let you pretty much do anything that you want to do, even if your back office is still, say, Windows-centric.
Yeah, absolutely. And if I were an IT admin of some kind, I'd be pushing for this because it really saves them a lot of time and effort and solves a lot of problems for people who have to maintain these systems. Now, one of the most powerful, I think, in my opinion, aspects of their marketing pitch here is the pricing. Can you tell us about the pricing?
Yeah, the pricing is pretty good. It's $50 a month per machine, per user, but also it's, say you lose the machine, say you left it in the taxi cab, say it just breaks on you, no fuss, no muss, you get another machine, the license automatically goes to it. So, it's, and since Chromebooks cost as little as, usable Chromebooks can cost as little as $199. You replace the machine. You don't have to buy a new license. You don't have to do anything. It's all tied to the user ID and the single sign-on. So, basically you get the machine, you log back in, and bang, you're back on. Your data's back because it's all on the cloud somewhere. Your apps are back. It's all right there. No fuss, no muss. And that's a considerable savings on the IT side. And also, it saves you a couple of hours of sitting around waiting for your machine to be, for your PC to get reset up and so on, because really there's no time there. I mean, actually, if I were a business, I would just have a storage room with, say, a couple of dozen or a couple of hundred of these things just sitting around, because, sooner or later, someone's going to spill coffee on the keyboard. It always happens. And for $50 a month, you get all the support, you get the maintenance, you get the admin capacity, and combine that with the other low-cost elements of the Chromebook ecosystem, and it's a really sweet deal.
Absolutely, and I hope they go after government next. We've reported over the last 3 or 4 years many cases where government people in the spy agencies and in the military in both the UK and the United States have left laptops in taxi cabs or left them behind somewhere, and then all these secrets are just on the hard disk there. It'd be nice if people like that would use a Chromebook, keep everything in the cloud, and have two-factor authentication and a password at least, protecting those secrets.
Yep, exactly. So because the Google comes with two-factor authentication already, so it's in there. And I know people are really distrustful about the cloud, but let's face it, it's 2014. What kind of work do we do that's not on the internet? Yeah. And so since you're going to be doing a lot of your work on the internet anyway, why not just it's safer to secure one big place. That is to say, your data on a private cloud somewhere or on a Google Cloud, because you don't have to use the Google Drive. You can use OpenStack. You can use other cloud solutions that are privately based so that you can, control is a big thing for you. You can do that. And that way, if someone loses the laptop, you've lost $200. You haven't lost, say, 200,000 HR records or, your top secret plan for your fiscal year 2015. A lot of these machines are lost actually all the time that you never hear about, because businesses do not want to tell anyone that, oh, by the way, we just lost 20,000 social security numbers for customers. Sometimes they're going to tell you that anyway, but particularly if it's like internal corporate stuff, it happens all the time. It's a real concern. Honestly, this is actually a stepping stone to a safer solution.
Stephen Vaughan-Nichols is at zdnet.com, and you can follow on Google Plus at Stephen Vaughan-Nichols. Thanks for joining us, Stephen. We'll have to get you on very soon.
All right. Always a pleasure. You take care.
All right. Take care. Bye-bye. A startup called Snowball yesterday launched an Android app that brings messaging conversations from different services into a single inbox. The app is also called Snowball, and it integrates with WhatsApp, Snapchat, Facebook Messenger, SMS, Line, WeChat, Twitter, and Slack. Jordan Novet writes for VentureBeat and joins us now. Welcome to you, Jordan.
Hey, Mike. How's it going?
It's going great, thanks. How does Snowball work? And if it's easy enough to do, why aren't there a lot of apps that do this? This sounds really useful.
It sounds a great idea, and I've already been getting emails from founders around the world who are working on doing something similar, whether for Android or for iOS. It really is a good idea, and I'm looking forward to using it.
Now, you talked to CEO Anish Acharya. How does he envision the future of messaging? Obviously, he thinks it's going to be integrated like this, but what else did he tell you?
He says that he wants to add more messaging apps. There are several that he doesn't include. Just off the top of my head, I'm thinking of Viber. And he can add those in. What I like is this concept that it's in person's name, rather than all these messages from these different siloed apps. You could have done that, but he's actually just thinking about your identity with your first and last name. And I like that unification. It's simplifying what we have to deal with every day. And I'm looking forward to doing that.
Yeah, it's really a great idea. And it reminds me of the fact that Google didn't do that with Hangouts, and for a long time the SMS account was a totally different, it was like a different person, and you were always like, well, which one is this? And it was annoying. Now tell us about Steve the Snowman.
Okay, Steve the Snowman is this little character who floats, or that floats, on the Android screen, and it is an interface into the Snowball app. And you can throw it away by just, I think, swiping it down to the middle of the bottom of the screen. But largely, it's there so you can, have easy access to the app anywhere you are. And one thing that's kind of cool is Anish made a point of saying that he wanted it to have like a face that changed expressions when you're looking at it. And it's just fun. It's social. That's how he was describing it to me. And I like that kind of whimsical element to something that is such a critical thing of what we do. And maybe it's going to make us get excited about talking to someone because, the tongue sticks out or something like that. It's kind of cute. Yeah, absolutely. Now, the company just closed a $2.3 million funding round. Who's backing them? Oh, I will tell you that. It is Google Ventures, among other VC firms. Actually, both of the founders were at Google Ventures before as entrepreneurs in residence, but also First Round Capital, Felicis Ventures, Lowercase Capital, Metamorphic Ventures, Golden Venture Partners, Cherubic Ventures, and David Lee. They are the investors. Sound like they're well backed. Now, right now, Snowball is just for Android. Did they say anything about coming out with an iOS version? No word yet. I was asking about it. I think they're all about the Google ecosystem. Actually, they had a social gaming startup called Social Deck that they were part of. That's how they ended up getting to Google as product managers, and later on, getting to Google Ventures. I think they're not thinking very much about, Windows, Fire Phone, Firefox OS, BlackBerry, and no, unfortunately for iOS users, not iPhones.
Well, that is a big fat point for Android, for the Android side of the equation. So that's kind of a cool thing for Android users.
And I think you hit on a really good thing, by the way, by talking about the division of SMS and Hangouts. It's something Google is aware of. And honestly, I really don't think this guy Anish would have gone after this problem if he hadn't seen it being a visible thing for social interactions while he was at Google. So I think there's a very clear reason he's focusing on Android.
Interesting. Jordan Novet writes at VentureBee.com, and you can follow him on Twitter at Jordan Novet. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks, Mike. Catch you later.
All right. Bye-bye. A free new chat app called Comics Chat puts your conversations into a hand-drawn comic interface. It comes from a company called Nubis. Jackie Dove is a creativity editor for The Next Web. She wrote about this app and joins us now. Hey, Jackie Dove.
Hey, how are you, Mike?
I'm doing great, thanks. Now, how the heck did they do this? It seems kind of, how do they get your chat in real time into a hand-drawn cartoon?
It's called artificial intelligence. And basically, they're using an artificial intelligence agent to generate all of the frames that are basically hand-drawn comic frames in a comic style. And they're drawn dynamically, and they are drawn based on what you say, what your chat contains, the attitude and tone of your chat. All of the artificial intelligence elements actually feed into the images that are generated. Now, you pick your icon. There aren't many. There may be a dozen icons right now in this free version that's debuted today at Comic-Con New York. And basically what it does is you can choose any icon you want, you can use any avatar you want, and you can change avatars as you proceed with your chat. So you don't have to stay with the same thing all the time. So basically, as you chat, the scene pans in, pans around the scene, it goes in and out, it zooms in, it backs out, it changes location. There's a lot of different, it's a very dynamic environment and atmosphere that it produces.
Now, who is this Otto Schmidinger character?
Okay, so he is the guy who actually drew all of these beautiful black and white kind of fantasy drawings for the background of the app. And he drew all the characters and everything that's on there. And it's only black and white. There's no color to this framework at all. And I think that kind of makes it really distinctive.
Now, which phone platforms are supported, and which social networks can you post these, I guess they're finished cartoons after you finish with the conversation? Where can you post these things?
You can post them to Facebook and Twitter. And I believe there were some other, I know Facebook and Twitter for sure, and because I actually have those. And I am not sure what the other ones are actually.
Okay. But this is on iOS, Android?
Oh, I'm sorry, Pinterest. Pinterest and other social platforms.
Pinterest makes sense. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, that's a good place to put it because it's such a visual social network. Now, the company has a social media campaign to get people to download this. What are they offering people?
Okay, so basically what they're offering is a free hand-drawn avatar of your own. And so basically there's a competition where you have to have, a certain number of likes on Facebook and Twitter and so forth. And the prize would be to provide a suggestion for the next Comics Chat avatar, an opportunity to name an avatar, and as well as your own hand-drawn avatar.
Oh, that sounds really cool.
By the artist himself. So yeah, that's pretty cool.
He's going to be busy.
Yeah.
Well, Jackie Dove writes at thenextweb.com and edits at thenextweb.com. And you can follow her on Twitter at Jackie Dove. Thank you so much for joining us on Tech News Today.
Thanks very much.
All right. Google today announced a new version of its Hangouts Chrome app for both the Chrome OS and for Windows PCs. They did not announce a new OS X version. When you install the Chrome plugin on a Mac, it tells you the app is not fully supported. But then it installs and basically launches the old version. And when you try to run the old version, it doesn't really work. So if you have OS X, if you're running a Mac, don't install this Chrome plugin. The app appears, I learned that the hard way. The app appears as if it's separate from the Chrome browser. It looks like icons on the desktop with connected floating heads, which you can drag around, and they're sort of attached on a flexible string. It's a kind of a cool interface. As previously announced, Google Voice is integrated, so Google Voice users can just use the Hangouts app in place of voice, and that includes SMS messages sent to the voice number. Geez, now this looks really cool to me, although a lot of people complained about Facebook's Home app, but that was on a phone. This is, I think, better on a laptop.
Yeah, I mean, for all of the criticism that Facebook Home got, primarily directed at Facebook trying something new and trying to build kind of an app ecosystem around their service and everything. One thing they did really well, and it's obvious because there are so many imitators of it, is the floating bubble thing. And right now, at least on Android, you see floating bubbles all over the place. It's actually a really great way to handle multitasking on mobile devices. I'm not surprised at all that Google is kind of taking that and bringing that into Hangouts on Chromebook, and who knows, maybe even more places.
And I'm glad Facebook didn't successfully sour everyone on that interface, because like you say, it's a great interface. It's just that people were bitter that Facebook was trying to essentially hijack the user interface of people's phones, and it just felt overly intrusive, just too much. But I do like the chat heads concept.
Agreed.
Yeah. Well, in just a minute, we're going to tell you about new problems that Apple is having with manufacturing and what they're doing about those problems. But first, I want to tell you about Squarespace. You got to have a website, whether it's a blog, whether it's to promote your work, whether it's to promote yourself as a professional, whether it's to enjoy your passions and interests in a way that draws other people who share those passions and interests to your site. You got to have a website, and Squarespace is the place to do it. If you've got a website right now, I can pretty much guarantee you that it is nowhere near as beautiful and robust as your new Squarespace website is going to be, because there's nothing better than Squarespace for building a beautiful and robust website. They start with 25 beautiful templates, really well designed. I don't know where they found these designers, but they are really leading edge designers. And they also have a logo creator tool. So if you're not a designer, you can create a logo as if you were a designer. It's a software enhanced site that just lets you just build this great logo, and you can use that, trademark it, and so on. Super easy to use, but they have tech support 24/7 if you ever need it, and they're really knowledgeable. And it's inexpensive. Squarespace starts at just $8 a month, and that price includes a free domain name if you sign up for a year. And of course, hosting is the best in the industry. You can't bring a Squarespace site down. You can try. Leo's tried on Twit many times. He's sent the massive Twit audience at various sites, and it doesn't even budge. Squarespace just throws more servers at it on the fly. Start a free 2-week trial today with no credit card required, and start building your website. When you decide to sign up for Squarespace, make sure you use the offer code TNT, and that will get you 10% off the price. It will also show your support for Tech News Today, and we here at Tech News Today appreciate that, and we thank Squarespace for their support of Tech News Today. Remember that a better web awaits, and it starts with your new Squarespace website. The Wall Street Journal confirmed today a Bloomberg story from last week reporting that Apple's 12.9-inch iPad has been delayed. The company had been planning to start production in December, but now has pushed back that schedule to free up capacity to meet huge iPhone 6 Plus demand. That is kind of a positive spin on it. They may, who knows, they may be having problems producing iPhone 6 Pluses at the speed that they like. We don't know the full extent of what is going on here, but we are hearing now from two major sources that the giant iPad is going to be delayed. And of course, if they start manufacturing it in the first quarter, you're not even going to see them in Apple stores until probably the second half of the year, I would guess. Square Order, which is an app for ordering and paying for food, coffee, and other things for pickup, now has arrival prediction. That means you can order at any time, and the participating establishments won't start making it until you're almost there. This is really cool. They know how long it takes to make something, and of course, if it takes 8 minutes to make a latte and you order this thing a half an hour before you show up, they'll wait till you're 8 minutes out, then they'll start it, and you don't even have to stop walking. Just walk right up to the counter and just grab it and keep going.
Man,
Very cool.
in this day and age where we've it's instant satisfaction is what we demand everywhere we go. Waiting just isn't good enough for us anymore for anything, apparently.
The technology industry is one by one eliminating even the first world problems.
We are going to take every single second of a 24-hour day and make it useful, damn it.
Now, if only that coffee could be downloaded. Work on it, you guys, will you? AT&T has to pay $105 million to settle a federal investigation into whether it fraudulently billed customers for millions of dollars worth of add-on services. The practice is pretty common, actually, and it's called cramming. In AT&T's case, it involved a $10 per month added charge, and added without permission, by the way, to customer phone bills for dumb features like ringtones, wallpapers, horoscopes, flirting tips, and celebrity gossip. You'd think the horoscopes would tell them that they're being ripped off. The penalties for doing it involve $25 million in fines that they have to pay to the government and $80 million in refunds that they have to pay to customers. So I think this is a good resolution, although, you know, people are going to get $10 or whatever it is that they got charged. Well, in other news, LEGO has released 6 new Minecraft-themed LEGO sets called Cave, Dragon Edge, Farm, First Night, and Workbench. Images of the sets were leaked on a Russian toy store website, and the sets are not expected to become available until at least November. I don't get this, Jason, how I think that, you know, if you like Minecraft, go play Minecraft. Don't pretend. It's like Minecraft is a fake real world. So this is a physical world thing that lets you emulate a fake world version of the real.
Honestly, I'm surprised this didn't happen sooner. Minecraft is the digital equivalent of Lego, 1. And 2, Lego has had to build their business around licensing for quite a while now because the Lego pieces, isn't anyone capable of producing Lego pieces? I can't remember the legality around it, but basically Lego in and of itself, the pieces, anyone can make. But licensed pieces is where they make their bread and butter nowadays. So this seems like a marriage made in heaven. I don't know. I'm sure it's going to be successful. Come on, kids love Minecraft, anything Minecraft. Maybe now they think it's almost like the reverse. It's like, well, I don't know. I've been playing this video game and now I can do it in the real world. That's amazing.
Look at the resolution.
Yes.
Coming through my eyeballs. Now, in working on this story, I did learn that there do exist current Minecraft sets. I didn't know that.
All right. So.
But apparently they're out there, and these are much better versions, and they're you know, more variety and so on. What I'm looking forward to is the game, the virtual game that lets you play the virtual version of Legos that is based on the virtual game Minecraft, which is based on the world.
Yeah, somebody's going to come up with, or somebody's going to do some sort of, you know, thing that's going to go viral where they take like one giant universe from the video game version of Minecraft and replicate it in the Lego world.
Yeah,
and everybody will go, "Woo!"
Yeah. I want little Lego things that where you shake it like this and then Lego pieces just appear
yes,
on
exactly.
the carpet. Just don't step
I want
on
that too.
Our TNT fan of the day is Laura Corner in Fair Oaks Ranch, Texas, who says she watches Tech News Today on her home office TV via Chromecast, beamed from her Nexus 7. What a geek. That's our kind of fan.
Up to the TV.
That's right. There it is. That's how it works.
Yep.
How do you watch or listen to TNT? Just record a video or take a picture of your setup and post it on Google+, Twitter, or Facebook. Use the hashtag HowIWatchTNT, and that's how we'll find it. You can also search for the hashtag HowIWatchTNT, and you can see them all for yourself. There's a lot of them out there. That is the Tech News Today. You can subscribe to Tech News Today on Stitcher and many other options. Choose your favorite at twit.tv/TNT. You can also follow us on Twitter at Tech News Today TV, and please send us your thoughts and opinions. Comment on Twitter or Google+ using the hashtag Tech News Today, and we'll find that too. Send email to tnt@twit.tv. You can call us at 260-TNT-SHOW. Nobody's going to answer, but you can leave a message. We might play it on the air. And don't miss our evening newscast, Tech News Tonight, at 4 p.m. Pacific tonight and every weeknight right here on the Twit Network. My name's Mike Elgan. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you tomorrow.